Hi all, and welcome to my channel, BK Roll TV. Today we will be continuing on the Build the U.S.S. Enterprise D series from DeAgostini, Japan. This is for Pack 22, stages 83 through 86. So welcome back everyone. Today we will be continuing on the Build the U.S.S. Enterprise D series. This is for Pack 22, stages 83 through 86. As you can see, we have the magazine for Pack 22 here, as well as all the parts and pieces for this pack. So anyways, as usual, we'll take a look at a quick look at the contents of the magazine first before we get started on the build. So let's take a look at the magazine. So as you can see here, we have the magazine for Pack 22 with a nice view of the saucer section, or the top side of the saucer section of the model here. And then we'll go ahead and skip over to the rear of the magazine where the contents are. So starting off in this magazine, it's for Season 5, Episode 6, The Game. I think this is where I think the alieneer Etana, played by Catherine Moffat, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, subdues the Enterprise crew of the game. I think Wesley tries to save the crew. And then in Season 5, Episode 7 is Unification Part 1 of startrek. And you'll see Spock there, Leonard Nimoy, that plays Spock as well. You can see some of the makeup test for Stewart there, and then some of the I think it looks like a model version, I think, and then some of the characters that plays in the Unification episode as well. And then we move on to Unification Part 2, which is Episode 8, and then Tasha Yar's daughter Sela, played by Denise Crosby, also guest stars in the episode as well. You can see some of the behind the scenes photos there, as well as the concept of the I think a Vulcan ship. And then Episode 9 is a matter of time. I think this is the part where they where the scientists, as you could say, played by Matt Frew, I think, collects some of the Enterprise gadgets and tries to take them back. Instead of him being from the future, he's from the past. And then I think they capture him in time. But yeah, anyways, just a quick look at the content of the magazine. I think most of the chunk of the magazine contents here was for the Unification Parts 1 and 2. But anyways, now let's go ahead and get started on the build for Pack 22. In stage 83, we will be installing another piece of the skull frame for the lower half of the saucer section, as well as installing some lighting on the saucer section part as well. So let's get started. So first off, as you can see, we have the saucer section here. So if we zoom in just a little bit, we will be installing a lighting cable right onto this little piece of the skull frame that we've previously attached a while back. So let's go ahead and get the lighting installed for that. So first off, we will need to bend the lighting cable. So we need to separate the two lighting cables that were included in this pack, and then we will bend the cable here. Just make sure you don't break it off or anything, so just be really careful with it. So just like that. And then we'll be doing the same thing for the other cable as well. So as you can see, we now have two of the lighting cables separated and bent pretty straight as much as possible. So next we'll be taking one and then installing this lighting cable right here, just like that, and it will sit right into place onto that little stand there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the little bracket here and then secure that into place to hold the light, and then we're going to secure that bracket in with one AM screw. So let's go ahead and get that all screwed in, just like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to connect this over to the PCB board right here. That'll be the last piece that's still available on the first board down at the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get that connected, just like that. So as you can see, we now have the one of the lighting all installed. Then next, we'll set this aside just for a few minutes while we install the lighting onto the scale frame that we got in this stage. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to attach the lighting cable for this one right onto this bracket holder there, you should call it, just like that. Then again, we'll get our little plastic bracket. Then we're going to secure that into place with one AM screw. So let's go ahead and get that one screwed in, just like that. So just like that. So as you can see, we now have the lighting cable attached to the scale frame. So next we'll be installing this scale frame onto the saucer section. So let's get our saucer section back now. And then basically, we zoom out here. We'll be installing the scale frame right onto this part here. So let's go ahead and now get the scale frame all installed. So once we set the scale frame into place, we will be securing that with 8 BM screws, and then 4 FM screws and 1 AM screw. So let's go ahead and get started with the BM screws first. And then next we will screw in 4 FM screws. That'll be on the bottom row right here. And then finally we'll install 1 AM screw, and that will go attach the 2 scale frame pieces together right there in the middle. Just like that. So now that we have the scale frame installed, next we'll be attaching the lighting cable here. So I'll be feeding that right through the gap there. Then we will connect that to the PCB board on top there. The thing, it's the next available connection on that board. I think that's probably the last one. Well, I think I mentioned the last lighting cable that I did was the last one, but I guess that one was the second last one. This is now the last one, hopefully. So we'll get that connected as well, just like that. And then we will go ahead and test the lighting. So we'll go ahead and turn off our studio lights here just a second, and zoom out here just a little bit just to show you guys the entire saucer section. So as you can see, all the lights are working right there. You can see those lights are working, maybe a little bit hard to see, but they are all working as expected. I think the battery may be getting weaker here. But yeah, as you can see, all the lightings are working as well. So anyways, that is it for stage 83. So in stage 84, we will be assembling another piece of the deck panel and installing some of the windows and also installing the lighting cables. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, first off we have this plastic deck panel piece here for the sausage section. So we'll be installing some of the window pieces for this. So we'll get the window pieces installed and then be right back. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the window panels, or not the window panels, but the windows. Okay, so now as you can see, we have the windows installed. So next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna install these reflector panels here, and then also attach two of the lighting cables. These lighting cables that have are two pairs each onto the deck panel, and then we're going to attach these deck panels with three BM screws, 3 BM screws on the smaller one and 4 on the larger one. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the both reflector panels installed, as well as the lighting cable. So next we'll set this deck panel piece aside and then bring over the sausage section so we can install one of the lighting cables here, which is this lighting cable. So for this lighting cable, we will be placing that right on top here and then feeding it through. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll be connecting this to the third slot on the PCB board that's on the top row. So let's go ahead and get that connected as well. So it's gonna just be sitting here just like that. And then next we will get our deck panel that we assembled previously, and we'll be feeding those wires through. So one wire is gonna slide through underneath. Then we are going to connect them to the PCB board on the first and second slot on the top row. And then next we're going to get the deck panel that we assembled in the previous pack. And then we will be attaching that just like that, and then also feeding in the lighting cables, which is the 2 lighting cables here. So the yellow and the black one will go on the this entire deck panel is flipped over, will be on the left side, and the other one is going to go onto the right side here. Just like that. Then we just slide the deck panel into the other deck panel that's next to it into place without losing any of the lighting cables that's attached. And then once that is done, we'll go ahead and secure that into place with 3 FM screws. So let's screw it in. So now that we got the deck panel installed, next what we'll be doing is we'll be testing the lighting for it. So if we turn off our studio lights here, should be able to see the lighting. So you can see all the lightings are working. So we're going to turn our lights back on. And then next we will be installing this reflector piece and the lighting cable onto the battle section middle panel. So we'll go ahead and set the sausage section aside just for a little bit. So we will install the lighting and the reflector panel right here, like that, and get our lighting cable installed. So if we zoom in here for you guys to see better, and then we will be securing that into place with 6 BP screws. So let's go ahead and get that screwed in. So as you can see, we now have the lighting and reflector panel installed. So next we'll be testing the lighting using the saucer section. So we'll temporarily plug in the lighting cable that we installed onto the saucer section board. just for the purpose of testing it. Then we'll go ahead and test the lights for it. Maybe a little bit hard to see, but the lights are working, as you can see. So anyways, that is it for stage 84. In stage 85, we'll be assembling another deck panel for the saucer section and installing the window for the battle section middle panel. So let's get started. As you can see, we have this metal deck panel piece here. So we'll be installing all the escape pod hatches. So let's get those escape pod hatches installed first. So we'll be right back. So as you can see, we now have the escape pod hatches installed. So next we will be installing the bracket and then the outer panel here. So we'll go ahead and get the bracket positioned there, and then we'll install the bracket with 2 AM screws. So let's screw that in. Then next we'll be installing the outer edge panel here. And then we'll secure that into place with 2 IM screws. So let's screw it in. So as you can see, we now have the deck panel set up with the edge. It's a yellow edge piece on there as well. So we'll be installing this now onto the saucer section. So let's bring over the saucer section. So we'll be installing this piece right onto this area right here. So let's go ahead and get that installed. Just like that. Just make sure that the edge piece goes over the deck panel that's on the top side of the hull, on the other side of the south section. And then we'll be securing this deck panel into place with 2 FM screws. So let's screw it in. Just like that. And then we will be installing the screw cover, which is the escape pod hatch. That's just gonna fit right through on top. If you zoom in, you should be able to see a little bit better. It's gonna stay right there, just like that. And then next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the saucer section aside. Then bring over the battle section middle panel here, and then basically very simple step, we'll be installing this window piece right here. So we'll get this window piece installed. So it'll be clipped on just like that for this middle section here. And then that is it for stage 85. In stage 86, we will be assembling another piece of the deck panel, attaching that to the south section, and then also working on the battle section as well. So let's get started. So first, as you can see, we have this metal deck panel piece here for the outer edge. We'll be installing the escape pod hatches onto that first. So let's get the hatches installed. So we'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have the escape pod hatches installed, next we'll be installing the bracket for this. It's going to just sit right on top there. And then we'll be securing that into place with 2 AM screws. So let's screw it in. And then next we'll be installing the outer edge piece for the saucer section. It's going to fit in just like that. Then we're going to secure that into place with 2 IM screws. So let's screw that in as well. Just like that. So as you can see, we now have the edge piece and this deck panel all built. So next we'll be attaching this deck panel onto the saucer section. So as you can see, we have the saucer section right there. So zoom out just a little bit, and also be attaching this deck panel onto here right there. Just like that. And then we'll be securing that into place with 2 FM screws. So let's screw that in. Then next what we'll be doing is we'll be placing the screw cover, which is the escape pod hatch right over the screw there. just like that. And then if we now zoom in here, we have this navigation light that where we need to put the lens on. So this is the little lens. It is black, but there's a little green lens right at the tip on each end of this piece here. So I'll go ahead and get this lens slid right through in just like that, and then we will attach that right there. So as you can see, it's seated in just like that. And then next we will temporarily set the sauce section aside and work back on the middle section of the middle panel of the battle section. So here we have the middle panel of the battle section. So next, what we are going to do is we're going to install this reflector piece here, and then also attach the lighting cable for it. Just like that. And then we will be securing that into place with 3 BP screws. So let's go ahead and screw, get that reflector panel screwed in. So as you can see, we now have the reflector panel installed. So next we'll be testing the lighting for this one. So we'll temporarily bring over the sauce section and test it with that. So if we turn off our lights, as you can see, the lighting is working. Maybe a little bit dark, but the lighting is working right over here. The lighting is not working on the other side because this is just a test. The other wire is not connected at this time. So as you can see, it's working. So we'll turn our lights back on. The next, we'll set this aside and then bring over the rest of the battle section. We need to assemble some of the panels together. And then what we'll be doing is we will be unscrewing the board from the bracket here. We'll be reattaching this board later. So we'll go ahead and get the board uninstalled. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to install the nacelle pylon assembly here. So if we zoom out a little bit, since it's starting to get a little bit large, we'll need to feed these wires through, and then we will be attaching this piece onto the warp pylon assembly with 2 DP screws, and they'll be screwed in right here. So let's go and get those screwed in. See, so as you can see, we now have the drive section partially put together. It's trying to get like a little bit larger of a piece. And then next we will be installing the middle section that we were working on earlier, which is this piece right here. So we'll flip this over and then get that piece installed. So we'll be feeding these wires through just like that. And just make sure it clicks into place. Then flip it over, and then we will be screwing that into place with 8 DP screws and 4 CP screws. So the basically the DP screws will go towards the center, and then the 2 edge here, and then the CP screws will be on the outer 3 on the sides, or on the sides, 2 sides here. So anyways, we'll get that screwed in, so we'll be right back. So now that we have all the screws secured to the panel and to the skull frame for the panel section, we'll be reattaching the PCB board back to the skull frame with 4 FM screws. So let's go ahead and get the board screwed in. So now that we have the board screwed in, next we'll be connecting the rest of the little wirings for the lighting cables for the panels that we installed. So if we zoom in, let's go ahead and get them installed. Just like that. So now we have all the cables installed to the board, and then that is it for stage 86 and for pack 22. So in pack 22, we attached another piece of scale frame, I think on this side here, and then we worked on all the deck panels and attached them onto this house section here, and then we worked on this middle deck panel of the battle section, and then assembled all of the battle section panels, at least the top side of it, together, just like that. So yeah, the battle section now starting to get turned to one big piece as well as the star section starting to finish up. Still have, I think, a little bit more to go. Then we should have the Enterprise D all assembled. I can't wait to see how the finished product will look like. But anyways, I hope you're enjoying this video series on Build the U.S.S. Enterprise D. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.